Most people assume that intelligence should naturally lead to financial success. It sounds logical. If someone is smarter, they should make better decisions. They should understand money faster, avoid major mistakes, build stronger careers, and eventually create more wealth. But real life does not always work that way. In fact, some of the smartest people you will ever meet remain financially stuck for years. Some live paycheck to paycheck. Some earn well but never build anything meaningful. Some know a lot but own very little. Meanwhile, other people who may not seem especially intellectual quietly build assets, launch businesses, invest consistently, and become financially free. So this creates an uncomfortable question. Why do smart people so often stay broke while others build wealth? Is intelligence overrated? Not exactly. Intelligence matters, knowledge matters, skill matters, but financial success depends on more than raw intelligence. It depends on action, emotional control, consistency, decision-making under uncertainty, the ability to tolerate imperfection, and the willingness to move before everything feels perfectly safe. Because being smart is not the same as being strategic. Knowing is not the same as building. And understanding something is not the same as applying it long enough to change your life. That is one of the biggest financial lessons most people learn too late. The world does not automatically reward the smartest person in the room. It often rewards the person who can combine enough intelligence with enough discipline, courage, and practical execution to create value over time. And that is exactly what we are going to break down in this video. We are going to explore the hidden reasons smart people often stay broke while others build wealth. Because once you understand these patterns, you stop admiring intelligence for its own sake. You start asking a better question. What kind of behavior actually creates freedom? Let's begin with the first reason. The first reason smart people stay broke is overthinking. This is one of the most common traps of intelligent minds. Smart people often see more variables, more outcomes, more risks, more possibilities, more complexity. That can be a strength, but it can also become a prison. Because the more possibilities someone sees, the harder it can become to choose. They analyze, then analyze again, then compare options, then gather more information, then question the original decision, then imagine every possible way it could fail. Meanwhile, someone less analytical but more action-oriented moves first. They start the project, make the investment, launch the idea, learn from reality, adjust, improve, and keep going. The overthinker often mistakes analysis for progress, but analysis without action creates no wealth. This is one of the great paradoxes of intelligence. A highly intelligent person can understand opportunity perfectly and still miss it because they stayed in their mind too long. Money rarely rewards perfect certainty, because perfect certainty almost never exists. At some point, every meaningful financial move requires action under incomplete information. The people who build wealth understand that. They do not wait for everything to become perfectly clear. They seek enough clarity to make a reasonable move, then they adapt. That is why some less intelligent people outperform smarter people financially. Not because they know more, but because they move. The second reason smart people stay broke is perfectionism. This looks admirable on the surface. High standards, careful thinking, a desire to do things properly. But financially, perfectionism can be brutal, because perfectionism delays output. The perfect business is never ready. The perfect offer needs more refinement. The perfect investment entry has not arrived. The perfect plan still needs more work. So the perfectionist keeps polishing while time keeps moving. And while they wait, other people gain experience. Other people make mistakes. Other people learn in public. Other people become stronger through action. That is the hidden advantage of imperfect execution. It creates real-world feedback. It creates momentum. It creates skill through contact with reality. Perfectionism often protects ego more than results. It protects someone from looking foolish, from releasing something unfinished, from failing publicly, from being judged too early. But wealth is rarely built by people who need every move to look flawless. It is usually built by people willing to be messy at the beginning so they can become excellent later. The third reason smart people stay broke is that they confuse understanding with execution. This is a dangerous illusion. A person reads about investing, studies business models, learns about taxes, watches finance interviews, understands leverage, can explain money psychology clearly, and yet, nothing changes in their own financial life. Why? Because understanding feels close to using. But it is not the same. Knowledge creates the sensation of progress. Execution creates actual progress. A person can know exactly what to do and still not do it. They can explain discipline while being inconsistent, explain investing while never investing, explain wealth building while still spending emotionally. This is more common than most people admit, especially among intelligent people, because intelligent people often build conceptual mastery very quickly. That makes it easier to believe they are further ahead than they really are. But money does not reward vocabulary. It rewards behavior. It rewards ownership. It rewards action. It rewards consistency. The market does not care how well you can explain a good decision. It cares whether you actually made one. The fourth reason smart people stay broke is that they often choose complexity over simplicity. Intelligent people are naturally drawn to nuance, to sophisticated explanations, to advanced strategies, to elegant systems, and there is beauty in that. But financially, simple strategies often outperform complicated ones. Living below your means, investing consistently, avoiding destructive debt, building assets, controlling lifestyle inflation, repeating good decisions for years. These things are not glamorous. They are almost boring. And that is exactly why many smart people underestimate them. They want advanced strategy before basic discipline. They want perfect portfolio design before the habit of regular investing. They optimize tiny details before fixing obvious leaks. They search for complex explanations for problems caused by simple behavior. But wealth is often built on boring fundamentals, executed consistently. And sometimes the desire to sound advanced becomes an obstacle to doing what actually works. The fifth reason smart people stay broke is emotional arrogance. This one is subtle. Smart people are often used to being right. Right in school, right at work, right in conversations, right in technical environments. That creates confidence. But sometimes it creates overconfidence. And overconfidence can be expensive. A smart person may assume they can outthink the market, predict outcomes more accurately than reality allows, read risks better than they actually can, avoid ordinary mistakes because they see themselves as above ordinary errors. That creates blind spots. They may take risks too quickly, ignore simple advice, dismiss warnings, trust their own reasoning too much. But money punishes arrogance, especially quiet arrogance, the kind hidden behind competence. Financial success requires humility, the humility to know that markets are uncertain, that business includes variables you cannot control, that intelligence in one area does not automatically create wisdom in another. A sharp mind does not cancel emotional vulnerability. Some very intelligent people lose money for a simple reason. They respect their intellect more than they respect uncertainty. And uncertainty eventually punishes that. The sixth reason smart people stay broke is low tolerance for being a beginner. This matters more than most people realize. A lot of intelligent people are deeply uncomfortable being average at something. They are used to competence, used to understanding quickly, used to being seen as capable. So when they enter a field like sales, business, investing, content creation, or entrepreneurship, they face a difficult reality. At first, they are not impressive. At first, they are awkward, slow, uncertain, ordinary. And many smart people secretly hate that phase. They would rather remain impressive in theory than become mediocre in practice. So they delay, they observe, they prepare endlessly. They tell themselves they are getting ready. But preparation often becomes a way of avoiding identity discomfort. Meanwhile, someone else who is more comfortable looking foolish in the beginning keeps moving. That is a major wealth advantage. the ability to survive the ugly early stage, the ability to be bad before becoming good. Because financial opportunity often belongs to people who can tolerate temporary incompetence long enough to build real competence. The seventh reason smart people stay broke is that they often become valuable inside systems they do not own. This is one of the biggest structural traps. Many highly intelligent people perform well in school, university, corporate life, and professional environments. They solve problems, improve processes, create value, get promotions, build a strong reputation. That can create a solid income. But income is not the same as wealth. Because wealth usually requires ownership, not just performance. And that is where many smart people get stuck. They become excellent operators inside someone else's machine, but they do not build a machine for themselves. They earn, they contribute, they improve the system, but most of the upside belongs to the owner of the system, not the smartest person inside it. This is one of the most important differences between being impressive and being financially powerful. A person can be brilliant inside a company and still never build serious wealth if they do not convert income into assets. The owner of the machine often gets richer than the smartest operator of the machine. That truth is uncomfortable, but it is real. The eighth reason smart people stay broke is that they underestimate the power of communication. Some intelligent people believe good work should speak for itself. That talent should be enough. That value will naturally be recognized if it is real. But the real world does not always work like that. Value often needs to be positioned, explained, sold, presented, negotiated. This is why some less technically skilled people make far more money. They know how to make value visible, how to persuade, how to build trust, how to present an idea in a way the market can understand. A brilliant person who cannot communicate their value clearly may remain underpaid for years. A less brilliant person who knows how to package and present value may accelerate quickly. That feels unfair to some intelligent people. But fairness is not the point. Reality is, money flows toward value that is visible, trusted, and transferable. Not just value that silently exists. The ninth reason smart people stay broke is that they often optimize for certainty instead of upside. Analytical people love clarity. They want reliable paths, predictable rules, understandable systems. But many of the highest upside financial opportunities involve uncertainty. Investing involves volatility. Business involves risk. Creation involves judgment. Ownership involves ambiguity. No meaningful wealth path comes with perfect guarantees. So what happens? Smart people often choose the path that is safest, clearest, and most respectable. A stable degree, a stable job, a stable ladder. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. The problem begins when certainty becomes a cage, because safety without leverage can become stagnation. Wealth often grows where there is uncertainty, experimentation, and the willingness to act before every answer is known. The people who build freedom become better at functioning inside uncertainty. The people who wait for a fully guaranteed path often remain safe, but financially limited. The 10th reason smart people stay broke is lifestyle identity. This trap hits many educated, capable, high-functioning people. They build an image of themselves, refined, competent, successful, cultured. And then they begin spending to match that image. The apartment must fit. The clothes must fit. The restaurants must fit. The social life must fit. The purchases become part of identity. That is financially dangerous. Because once lifestyle becomes self-definition, reducing expenses feels like reducing self-worth. And that is why many intelligent professionals earn good money while building weak foundations. They are not spending only for comfort. They are spending to remain consistent with the person they believe they are. The financially strategic person breaks this illusion earlier. They learn that appearances can be expensive distractions, that identity should not depend on visible consumption, that net worth matters more than presentation. That shift preserves enormous amounts of money for ownership instead of image. Now, none of this means intelligence is useless. That would be the wrong lesson. The real lesson is this: intelligence becomes financially powerful only when it is paired with execution, humility, consistency, ownership, emotional control, and a willingness to act before everything feels perfect. That is the shift. A smart person who stops overthinking, stops worshiping complexity, stops waiting for certainty, and starts building simple wealth habits can become extremely dangerous financially. Because then intelligence finally gets a vehicle. Then knowledge becomes structure. Then strategy becomes assets. Then analysis becomes leverage. And that is when everything changes. The smartest move is not to become less intelligent. It is to become more practical, more decisive, more tolerant of imperfection, more willing to start, more focused on ownership than appearance, more committed to simple habits repeated for a long time. Because wealth is not a prize given to the most mentally impressive person. It is usually the result of repeated useful behavior. Build, buy, learn, communicate, invest, adjust, repeat. That is how ordinary people become financially extraordinary. And that is why some very smart people stay broke, while others quietly build freedom. If this video made you see the problem differently, like it. And if you want more videos about wealth, financial psychology, money systems, and long-term freedom, subscribe now. Because on this channel, we are not just talking about money. We are talking about the behaviors that shape your future. And in the comments, answer this. What do you think keeps smart people broke the most? Overthinking, perfectionism, fear of action, or lifestyle identity? Because once intelligence starts working with discipline instead of against it, everything can start moving differently.